reconnect and heal today. Welcome to Love Never Dies with Dr. Jamie Turndorf.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Love Never Dies Radio on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network and Dr. Turndorf, Turn on the Love on Binge Networks TV. So today we're talking about your immune system. Are you worried that your immune system may not be strong enough to withstand exposure to viruses? And did you know that high stress causes a drop in your immune system functioning? You know, young people have strong immune defense against coronaviruses, but as we get older, the immune system can start to weaken, especially if you have diabetes or heart disease, autoimmune disorders, or thyroid, liver, or kidney diseases. To shore up the immune system so it can fight pathogens and their toxins, it's common for us to be told take lots of vitamin C and vitamin D and zinc. And these nutrients do help to cleanse and oxygenate the body and strengthen the immune system. But the important role of magnesium to arm the immune system with what's called electrical power is often ignored. So today we're going to be talking about how you can supercharge your immune system defense with transdermal magnesium. And we're going to be talking again with my dear Sandy Sanderson, the founder and CEO of Magnesium Skin and Muscle Care Products. She's a Bachelor's of Arts graduate. She has a degree in the Bachelor of Arts, and she has a specialty in marketing and business. And after years of chronic stress and deadlines, she developed severe heart arrhythmia and a health crisis, which she resolved using transdermal magnesium. And this led her to the development of a natural magnesium delivery system with products for all ages. And her website is electromagnesium with a K, electromagnesium.com.au. You've got to add the .au for Australia. So welcome back, Sandy. So good to have you again.
Hello, Jamie. Good to be back. Had a little break last month.
I know we did. And, you know, you went through your own immune crisis, you know?
I did. And, you know, I got a little bit cocky because I'd gone through 11 or 12 years without being sick. You know, as I told you before, I had the heart arrhythmias and the Hashimoto's over 12 years ago, which I resolved. And I've been able to control very well after I discovered magnesium and lots of it. And I thought, you know, I felt invincible. But what happens is you go along the track and you get a little bit slack and you maybe overload the plate, which I did, burnt the candle at both ends. So I didn't even realize that I was getting a little bit weaker in my defenses. I was so focused on, you know, what was happening. And then we had a family crisis, which kind of slapped me in the face. And I felt the stress levels rise and, you know, my adrenaline pumping, and I'm trying to keep it all together, hold it all in, you know, I've got to shoulder it. And lo and behold, about a week later, I started to feel little lumps, itchy lumps in my back, which turned out to be shingles, which threw me back. I got a big shock. I thought, what? That can't be happening to me.
I know, I am strong, I am invincible, and how did this happen? Yeah.
And I am woman. And so I started to look up what the hell is shingles. And I was reading horror story after horror story. And my own mother-in-law had it last year. And she went through terrible, terrible trauma and drama, so much pain, neuropathic pain underneath the itchy blisters.
Nerve pain, neuropathic nerve pain. And some people never get over it.
Yes.
You know, that they are left with nerve.
I've read about that. And apparently it happens more with mature people. I didn't want to say elderly. I'm not elderly. But, you know, over 50 and over 60s. So I'm 62. I guess I'm in the category. And it comes from it's the herpes zoster virus. And if you've had chickenpox as a child, which I did, so you develop immunity to chickenpox. But this virus apparently lays dormant in the nervous system, waiting and lurking for a chance to get back at you if the immune system drops low enough. And another one that does that is the herpes simplex. That's your cold sore variety. But the zoster variety gives you those itchy blisters. And funnily enough, it only happens on one side of the body, from the middle around the side towards the boob, which I found really strange. Why would it do that? But it kind of tracks around, I guess, the lymph system, which is interesting because, you know, when we have an illness, I found in my research and studies that the body's just trying to detox, it's trying to get something out that shouldn't be in there. And so when the immune system becomes weaker, your defenses have dropped. It's also a sign that you haven't been able to eliminate toxins. And those toxins may be metabolic in origin, or they may have been something you've encountered in the environment, something that's accumulated. And of course, stress produces a lot of toxins as well. So as we get older, the detox system starts to slow, the energy system slow, and we get lower magnesium, which means we need to top up with a lot more magnesium. So it's extremely important in immune defense and strength. And last year, when, you know, the big pandemic year hit, I was listening to a lot of doctors and a lot of recommendations, and out came that, oh, lots of vitamin C. And we all know that that's really important. And it is extremely good to have vitamin C. You know, you take it up to the point where you're starting to get diarrhea, or you can go and get an injection to bypass the digestive system. And then, you know, they can add some zinc. You can take vitamin D. If you're lucky enough to be in a sunny climate, get some more sunshine. Somehow or other, you have to get these elements into you more, because they help the body detox, get rid of rubbish and cleanse. And that allows then more oxygenation because you're then balancing the pH system.
You know, I was wondering why people forget, even MDs forget, the importance of magnesium in immune defense. Why do you think?
You know what? That's a really good question. We have over 100 years of research. And when I started to look up more about immune, because there's so many things magnesium does, so there was a lot of research in the immune system in the 70s and 80s, something in the 90s, you know, a little bit trickling through in 2003 and 2008. But strangely, it's gone silent in the last 10 years as far as research goes. And you know, if you go back, the books I started to read about magnesium, transdermal magnesium therapy, the magnesium factor, they referred back to early last century. The French discovered how good magnesium chloride was, which is magnesium salt, comes from the ocean, in World War I, and they ran out of drugs, they ran out of medicines for the soldiers, and all they had was salt, magnesium salt. So they diluted it and they made certain solutions, and they found it helped the soldiers recover faster. I guess they may have made like a little bit of a more dilute formula so as not to sting them too much, because if you put magnesium on an open wound, it's salt in the wound. But it's like when you go in the ocean with a little paper cut and the salt gets in there, it's like you get an initial whoo, but then it goes away. And guess what? That cut heals so fast after you've gone to the beach. Have you noticed that?
Yes. Yes, because when you're in the ocean, you're getting a lot of natural magnesium right from the salt water.
Right. And the bad pathogens and the bugs don't survive. And it's always a constant war in the body. So for millennia, human beings, animals, all of us really in our environment, there are countless microbes in our environment. I was thinking today, if we had glasses on, special glasses, that when you look through them, you could see all the microbes around you. The place would be teeming. You wouldn't see anything else. With, you know, there's bacteria and microbes all over, and they're inside our digestive system. So, which is still the outside. So we talked about this before about the gut health thing. You have one tube that goes from the mouth right up to the back end of the stomach, somewhere in the middle. But it's a tube that it's still the outside. So food goes through, it gets digested, and your waste products come out but what goes inside are the nutrients that are absorbed through the intestine. And that then goes inside the body. So the immune system is also very reliant on gut microbiome health and the balance of the gut. But today we're going to focus a little bit more on the inside part, which is your white blood cells and your inner immune system. So when bad things or non-self or something that's not you breaches those barriers and gets to the inside, what then kicks in on the inside of your body to get rid of them, to help defend your body against the non-self other. And this could be microbes, or it could be substances, could be poisons, could be waste products, could be anything that shouldn't be on the inside. How do we get rid of them? So what happens is you've got the white blood cells, lots of different types of them. So mainly there are your macrophages. Some call them phagocytes because they have a phagocytic activity. They scout around. They're always patrolling the blood and the lymph, so the rivers of the body, scouting and looking for what shouldn't be there. And when they find something,
sharks, they're like little sharks swimming. Da-dun, da-dun.
Yeah,
they're looking for something to eat.
And then they spot something. Alert! Oops, something breached. You may have been at the supermarket and breathed in, something in the air. People are close together. You may have kissed someone and they may have caught something from someone else, hugged, kissed, things that humans normally do.
Or
but if you have a strong immune system, you can just get rid of it, right? So the macrophages find it and they engulf it and they swallow it up, and then they kill it with hydrogen peroxide. So really strong oxygen kills it. Then it just gets dissolved and they push it out through, the bowel, and you poop it out and you get rid of your wastes and toxins that way.
Or sweat.
Yes, you can sweat it out. That's why saunas are very good. Also, they promote healing because they promote detox and cleansing. So the macrophages also alert the lymph system. So the lymphocytes are made in the bone marrow. And so the macrophages are more part of the innate immune system, and they're the front line. And when we're younger, we have a really strong innate immune system because we haven't had enough time yet to practice on the environment with the lymph system, with the lymphocytes. Lymphocytes develop a memory. So they're made in the bone marrow. So the lymphocytes get alerted. The macrophages have sounded the alarm. Something's in the system that shouldn't be there. We've got to get rid of this bad bacteria. And they spring into action. So you have B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. So the Bs stay in the bone marrow and the T lymphocytes move through the thymus. That's why they have a T. And they spring into action and also find the bad bacteria or what shouldn't be in there. And they adhere, they stick to what shouldn't be there. And they learn what it is. And they okay, now I know what it is. The antidote will be, so it sends messages into the genes, and that intelligence of the immune system kicks in, and it comes up with a formula, which is the antidote, the opposite, to neutralize it. So it has no effect. And then it remembers for the next time when that particular virus or that particular bacteria or whatever comes back again with the same profile, it goes into its library of memory and it goes, aha, that's it. Send out this antidote, and then it's very quickly dealt with. You probably then later don't even notice your immune system has dealt with it. You haven't had the phlegm or the other kinds of reactions that you first may have had when you weren't used to it and you didn't understand how to deal with this bug. And so as we're young and we, little kids, they've got runny noses, they go to kindergarten, they come back and they bring stuff home because their immune system is learning a lot very quickly. And so they're producing these cold or flu symptoms, because that's the immune system doing its job. So there's a war going on, and the phlegm is produced by the war and the byproducts of the war. And, the soldiers who are your immune system, your lymphocytes, your phagocytes, in the production of the antibodies, and also the hydrogen peroxide and all the ammunition they're using to kill the bad bugs, and the debris from the war and the waste products, it produces acids, so free radicals. And then your body has to kick in with some pH balancing and antioxidants. And this is where your vitamin C and your vitamin D, all your good nutrients, your antioxidant nutrients from eating well, eating good food, fresh, healthy food, magnesium-rich food. So magnesium also acts as an antioxidant. An antioxidant donates electrons to acids to buffer them and neutralize them and make them not have a bad effect, because acids without antioxidants wear you out. They dissolve you. Acids dissolve you.
Right. So it eats you up, literally. I was just thinking that if you don't have enough, well, if you back up, the debris, bacterial, viral, fungal, environmental, all that garbage is very acidifying, right? And so as you become more acidotic, you too much acid, you don't have enough peroxide or alkalizing agents to neutralize the acids. So it's a vicious cycle, because the acidity is a great environment for all the toxins to grow, the viruses to grow. They like an acid environment.
Yes, so if you notice your compost heap, if you have a compost heap in your garden and throw all your vegetable scraps and things on there to decompose, so the inside that heap, the anaerobic bacteria get in, and the fungi, they inject enzymes and they break, which are acidic, and those acidic enzymes break everything down, and it gets hot, and everything comes into little pieces and smaller, and eventually all that compost turns back into soil and goes back into the earth. To the earth you shall return. But you don't want to break down while you're alive, right? So you need to keep oxygenated. That keeps the life force flowing through, and the life force is the energy, is the electrical energy. And what produces the electrical energy are the mitochondria inside the cells. They produce ATP, so adenosine triphosphate. And what do you need to make ATP? You need a lot of magnesium. Magnesium is the master mineral electrolyte. So it's a mineral electrolytes. So like calcium and potassium and sodium, they're also electrolytes. They work as a group in a certain balance. But it's usually magnesium that's at the front end, the most important of the electrolytes. And when the others kind of go out of balance, or something goes wrong with calcium, for instance, it's usually because there's not enough magnesium in the body to control how the calcium is used in that balance of electrolytes.
People talk about mineral balancing, but I think you believe that you don't need to get so crazy about balancing all the other minerals. If you have enough magnesium, it sort of controls the balance of the others.
That's right. We have to trust our body. We have genes, and we have an innate natural intelligence, a biological intelligence that has evolved for millennia. Or, if you subscribe, of course, God created evolution. Both work together. There's nature and nurture, and there's learning. And our cells and genes have acquired knowledge over a long period of time. That's epigenetics. So our evolution passes on information that mankind has learned in the past from surviving. So we've survived up till now because something's been working well in our natural immune system. And we need to have faith in this, and the body knows its own balance point. It knows the right kind of pH where things work. When you get the right pH balance, which should be 7.25 to 7.35 or thereabouts in the blood and in the cells, that's when you get the right electron flow. The electricity passes through well and easily. If it's acidic, if it falls below 7, more and more, it starts to become more acidic, and you can't dissolve oxygen in that cell plasma as much or enough the further down the pH scale it goes. So your cells become more hypoxic or starved of oxygen, the more acidic it becomes. So it's like a seesaw. So when you're using your antioxidants to lift so why do we call them antioxidants? Sometimes it's a bit misleading, but what happens is when your metabolism uses oxygen to make energy, it has oxygen byproducts. So that becomes, they're called oxidates. So they're oxidized, like used up. Think of it as used up oxygen. And that means that it's hungry for electrons. It's got, these molecules have electrons missing, and they're free radicals, and they cause free radical damage because they're looking to steal electrons from other cells, other molecules, and that then breaks them down. That's why acids break us down, because there are too many electron stealers, stealing electrons from other molecules. And the more antioxidants you put in your body, the more you balance.
The point, I got to steal a break.
Okay.
I got to steal a break. Hold the point. We'll be right back on Love Never Dies and Dr. Turndorf, Turn on the Love. Hi, it's Dr. J.B. Turndorf here. Are you feeling stressed, tense, jumpy, jittery, anxious, or having panic attacks or angry outbursts or disturbed sleep? Are you worried that you or someone you love is going to get sick or even die? Are you depressed and feeling hopeless, like the world is coming to an end? Or are you suffering aches and pains or stiff muscles, low energy, or falling into self-damaging or addictive behaviors like binging on junk food, the internet, or TV, or abusing drugs or alcohol, or not eating right, or exercising, feeling like, what's the point? If you said yes to any of my questions, you are likely suffering what I call the global PTSD pandemic stress syndrome triggered by the coronavirus pandemic. Don't despair. My energetic system upgrade is your rescue remedy for the panic epidemic that is plaguing our world. The energetic system upgrade has already helped some of today's top leaders. Now you can experience your own energetic system upgrade healing transformation. To find out more and to schedule your session, visit drjamieturndorf.com/energetic system upgrade. That's Dr. Jamie Turndorf, TURNDORF.com/energetic system upgrade.
Love Never Dies is now on the Dream Vision 7 radio network every Wednesday and Thursday at 1 p.m. and 1 a.m. Eastern Time. Dr. Jamie Turndorf, also known as Dr. Love, is the #1 international best-selling author of Love Never Dies, How to Reconnect and Make Peace with the Deceased. If you're grieving the loss of a loved one, tune in and find out how to reconnect and heal any unfinished business using Dr. Turndorf's groundbreaking new Dialoguing with the Departed technique. Visit AskDrLove.com to find out more.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
You're listening to Love Never Dies with Dr. Jamie Turndorf. If you yearn to get along better with your life partner or spouse, friends, family members, and even coworkers, Dr. Turndorf's book, Kiss Your Fights Goodbye, Dr. Love's 10 Simple Steps to Cooling Conflict and Rekindling Your Relationship, shows you how to turn conflict into connection for a lifetime of lasting love. Find out more about Kiss Your Fights Goodbye at AskDrLove.com. This is Love Never Dies with Dr. Jamie Turndorf. This show is for you, the listener. Once again, here's Dr. Turndorf.
Hello again, and welcome back to Love Never Dies Radio on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network and Dr. Turndorf, Turn on the Love on Binge Networks TV. We're talking with Sandy Sanderson about how to boost your immune system to fight off bacteria and viruses and fungi and all other kinds of crap that's assaulting us at every minute. You were talking about antioxidants before we took the break.
Yes, so the oxygen or the antioxidants and they're alkalizing elements. So these are foods that you might eat that produce an alkalizing effect to lift the pH up into the alkaline range again. So vegetables generally are very good at producing an alkalizing effect. So you may have heard people on a detox diet would be eating lots of vegetables or doing juices and various other methods, but avoiding too much digestion of meat because it requires a lot of acids. Maybe the microbiome isn't working very well, something's gone wrong with the digestive system, and instead of in and out being digested well and the waste being removed, things get clogged up because the energy is dropping and the conveyor belt's slowing down and stuff's not coming out of the body like it should. And this generally tends to happen as we get older, as magnesium drops lower, as acid levels increase, as the pH drops, we're not getting as much oxygen. Healing may be slower as a result. The immune system starts to get weaker. And funnily enough, scientists, when they test people of various ages, find that the stored magnesium in cells, so 99% of your magnesium is stored in muscle and bone, gets less and less over time as we age. So there's a very strong correlation between aging and the amount of magnesium your cells hold. And so, but the more magnesium you replenish, the more you can stave off the aging process a little bit longer. Unfortunately, we can't do it indefinitely so far, but we can certainly slow things down and age more gracefully. And, you know, there are many centenarians out there that have done very good nutritional protocols that are well over 100 that don't develop diabetes, they don't have heart attacks or strokes, they don't get Alzheimer's, you know, they don't get cancer. They just fall asleep one day and don't come back. They just die gracefully without pain. That's kind of the ideal way to go when it's time, right?
That's the way it's supposed to be. So let's just describe so people can find out whether they have a low immunity. I mean, the most obvious is you get sick all the time. You know, you catch everything that's running around. What are some other symptoms that people might not notice of low immune function?
Well, you can predict someone's immune system will be not functioning well or weak if they have sugar diabetes. So once you have metabolic syndrome, which is a precursor of diabetes, metabolic syndrome means that your ATP level production have come down. So mitochondria aren't producing as much ATP. They kind of shut things down a little bit. And that's kind of a safety mechanism because so they need magnesium to be part of the ATP. Scientists have found when mitochondria make ATP without their magnesium present, they produce free radicals, and that's damaging of the mitochondria. They can kill the mitochondria. So to protect themselves, they just lower production of that energy until they acquire more magnesium and antioxidants to help rev it back up again. They become resistant also to more insulin coming into the cell because insulin brings the glucose that creates more metabolism. Metabolism from glucose creates more acidic byproducts, which could kill the mitochondria. Don't want to do that. So things just slow down and go, well, it's a self-defense mechanism for the cells. And then when you have insulin resistance, you can't have that glucose floating around in the blood. It also becomes acidic and starts to wear away the lining of your arteries. If you wear away the lining of your arteries, you've got, then the body has to send calcium to plug up the holes, because that calcium always moves to parts of the body where there's a lot of acid. So the sites of injury where you've had inflammation, inflammation produces a lot of acidic byproducts. So inflammation is part of the immune system. That's where the lymphocytes have moved in, the phagocytes, they're cleaning up mess, they're shooting down the bad guys, they produce a lot of acids. And so the body goes, oh my gosh, pH levels drop too low, too many acids, got to get rid of it, send in some antioxidants. So if there's not enough magnesium or other antioxidants available to neutralize, guess what the body does? It pulls calcium out of the bones, and we can get osteoporosis. So I'm mentioning all the symptoms in this like chain reaction. So then the calcium leaches out of the bones, it gets moved to maybe the lining of the arteries, just those sites where it's rubbed too much and it's got thin and the little lesions have formed. So you've got calcium moving there to try and neutralize that acid and stop you leaking. And then as the blood pumps and the vessel has to expand, it's lost its elasticity because the calcium is hardening. And so it's like trying to put water through a dry hose, and then you might get little splits. So those little splits on the lining of the arteries then attract more cholesterol. So the liver produces cholesterol. So initially the good cholesterol, it moves around the body to try and neutralize the acid, suck up the waste products, and then it becomes oxidized and it becomes a bad cholesterol, and it forms plugs. Jelly-like plugs, and as the plugs grow, the arteries get narrower. So now you've got stiff arteries, you've got high blood pressure, hypertension, and the tubes are getting stiffer, and the waste products all tubes. The kidneys are made of tubules. Everything in the body is tubes, and even the tubules of the kidney can become a bit stiffer, and so they become more leaky, and they can let out too many salts that you need for pH balance, like magnesium, like bicarbonate of soda, so sodium bicarbonate. You can lose too much of your good salts that help balance the pH if the kidneys are not functioning well enough. And so kidney dysfunction is associated with a high blood sugar level and hyperinsulinemia, so insulin resistance. So all of these factors come together. They're all part of one big, really disease process initiated by a series of traumas or stresses, not enough magnesium. So when we have stress, we lose magnesium, and or too much alcohol, bad lifestyle, processed foods, foods which are low in magnesium. So we get it both ways. Not enough magnesium coming in and too much loss of magnesium from stress creates a perfect storm where we become magnesium deficient. And then that triggers the mitochondria to slow down, the energy production slows down, your detox doesn't work as well. So you need magnesium to make enzymes. And enzymes are very essential for detoxing, such as glutathione and superoxide dismutase to neutralize those free radicals. And then another one I wrote down the other day, a sulfation enzyme. All of these enzymes break things down so that they're able to be carried and transported out of the body and cleaned. So our garbage disposal system starts to get clogged, and that then breeds more microbes. So because we're then lacking the oxygen, because remember the low pH, low oxygen starts to breed then or attract bacteria that love no oxygen environments or low oxygen environments. So anaerobic bacteria, they're usually can become quite pathogenic, and then they outnumber the oxygen bacteria, which are struggling to survive. So our aerobic bacteria help us in our digestion, and they the gut bacteria produce most of our neurotransmitters for the brain. So when you start to get clogged and your immune system gets overloaded and you're full of phlegm and your tubes are clogged, you feel like crap. It's not producing the right neurotransmitters. And so what does the body not naturally want to do? It wants to rest, just wants to sleep. It's like, oh, just take all the stress away. No, don't bother me. I don't want to go there. I don't want to do that. I just want to just stop. Oh, no, I'm not hungry. I feel sick. Bleh. Don't feed me anything. The conveyor belt's blocked. It comes out this way or it goes out that way. But your body's trying to purge itself. It's trying to get rid of stuff because it got blocked. The immune system's struggling because it can't function when all the tubes are blocked and the phlegm and the overload and the toxins and the acids. So scientists have found now in the more recent immune studies that highest risk factors for not recovering well from viral and bacterial infection are hypoglycemia, obesity and diabetes, insulin resistance, hyperlipidemia, I mentioned that, the bad cholesterol buildup, hypertension, so your stiff vessels causing pressure, cardiovascular disease, strokes. Well, now we're going to get to that because that's to do with thrombosis, the collection of clumping together of cells. And that leads to deep vein thrombosis and eventually pulmonary embolism, where you completely choke off and can't get any oxygen because everything's clumped and clotted, and your system is just starved of oxygen. You suffocate, virtually suffocate. And so what happens with thrombosis is it comes back to this acidic thing, and naturally your blood plasma pH needs to be the 7.25, 7.35 range for it to function normally. So that's a little bit alkaline, and that's a negative charge. And so in that environment, the blood cells bounce off one another because they're repelling, and that's how they flow through the vessels in a spiral motion, and they're sort of bouncing. You've seen the little videos of the blood cells bouncing. They're nice round, juicy round shapes, and they need to be that way because they've got to take oxygen in from the lungs, and they need all of that surface area, and then they've got to drop it off at the tissue cells, the muscle and the bone and everywhere in the body. They're like transport systems, and they need all of that surface area for oxygen to come off and oxygen to come on and then off. And then what happens is the blood plasma gets too acidic, they start to attract instead of bounce off one another, and they can clump together and form clusters and clots. And if the clots get big enough, you can stop your blood flow. And you can have clots in the brain, clots in your legs, wherever the vessels are, and that can cause huge problems and can cause. So what happens is, as magnesium's been low for a long time, collagen structures are also thinner because you need magnesium to make proteins, need magnesium to make collagen and elastin for the structure that even holds you together. And if the collagens become thinner, so the collagen even in your lung sacs, if that becomes thinner, and you suddenly start to have something which pushes and blisters everything out, you can burst vessels and burst lung sacs even. So that's also what happens later in life with elderly people. Everything becomes thin and frail. The collagen's already deteriorating, and that's really correlated with the level of magnesium that's in the body. And lower magnesium means more dehydration, so we become old and dry and crunchy and clogged, and then it's over.
I hate to, I'm bursting for a break.
Okay.
We'll be right back in a few secs. it's Dr. J.B. Turndorf here. Are you feeling stressed, tense, jumpy, jittery, anxious, or having panic attacks or angry outbursts or disturbed sleep? Are you worried that you or someone you love is going to get sick or even die? Are you depressed and feeling hopeless like the world is coming to an end? Or are you suffering aches and pains or stiff muscles, low energy, or falling into self-damaging or addictive behaviors like binging on junk food, the internet, or TV, or abusing drugs or alcohol, or not eating right, or exercising, feeling like what's the point? If you said yes to any of my questions, you are likely suffering what I call the global PTSD pandemic stress syndrome triggered by the coronavirus pandemic. Don't despair. My energetic system upgrade is your rescue remedy for the panic epidemic that is plaguing our world. The energetic system upgrade has already helped some of today's top leaders. Now you can experience your own energetic system upgrade healing transformation. To find out more and to schedule your session, visit drjamieturndorf.com/energetic system upgrade. That's Dr. Jamie Turndorf, TURNDORF.com/energetic system upgrade.
Love Never Dies is now on the Dream Vision 7 radio network every Wednesday and Thursday at 1 p.m. and 1 a.m. Eastern Time. Dr. Jamie Turndorf, also known as Dr. Love, is the #1 international best-selling author of Love Never Dies, How to Reconnect and Make Peace with the Deceased. If you're grieving the loss of a loved one, tune in and find out how to reconnect and heal any unfinished business using Dr. Turndorf's groundbreaking new Dialoguing with the Departed technique. Visit AskDrLove.com to find out more.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
You're listening to Love Never Dies with Dr. Jamie Turndorf. If you can't stop crying over the bodily loss of a loved one, Dr. Turndorf's #1 international bestseller, Love Never Dies, How to Reconnect and Make Peace with the Deceased, will show you how to toss out the tissues and transform your grief into joy using her groundbreaking new Dialoguing with the Departed technique that enables you to reconnect and even heal unfinished business with those in spirit without the assistance of a medium, channeler, or psychic. Sign up for Dr. Love's free newsletter at AskDrLove.com and receive an exciting gift, a free excerpt of Love Never Dies. And now, back to Love Never Dies with Dr. Jamie Turndorf.
Hello again, and welcome back to Love Never Dies Radio on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network and Dr. Turndorf, Turn on the Love on Binge Networks TV. That's a mouthful. Now, you know, when you were describing how we get dry and crunchy and, all, as a result of acidosis and dehydration, and it all can be reversed. Low collagen, like you said, the magnesium is the precursor to the collagen formation. So, I mean, all of these mechanisms can be reversed or prevented with magnesium.
Yes, so it's never really just one thing, but I look at magnesium as being the trunk of the nutritional tree. It just holds everything up. And so what people do today is they kind of focus on the branches and they don't see how everything connects with magnesium. Usually, if you get enough magnesium, you probably got 80% or more of the issues covered. And if there's anything left, it's easy to address after that. And the cleaning and the detox is very important to stay well and healthy. You have to have a good strategy for keeping the body clean or helping it to eliminate waste. You've got to have a good stress management protocol. You've got to have good strategies to control stress. So we can't avoid it in this world and this life. And stresses are, those challenges make us stronger. You know the old saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And that's the world we live in, as long as you can get back to balance. And this is always the caveat. Do you have enough resources to come back to neutral, to come back to balance, to recover from the stress so your body can make you stronger? And if you don't have enough magnesium, this is a problem. This is why healing is slower, because the body's struggling to get back to balance without enough magnesium. And in the old days, before we got so reliant on chemicals and drugs, doctors would automatically, as a standard protocol, wash out the ill person's bowels. They would clean everything out because that gave them a real head start for healing and recovery. They would take them off food, and they would, do a lot of things that we've talked about naturally, because they intuitively knew if they did this and they did that, things start to get better more quickly. Eat the blueberries and the antioxidant foods, and grandma's chicken soup, the broth, because the bone marrow is loaded with minerals and magnesium, and the vitamins and minerals from the vegetables. And when you eat that, is so almost no work to digest it, and it supports the gut microbiome that are also part of your defense system. Actually, your lymphocytes are part of that lymph system. The gut system is connected. That's where your lymphocytes, a lot of your immune system is actually made in that gut area, and the spleen. And so we really need to support the detox. We need to put the good nutrients in so the body can defend. I call magnesium the cell defender. It's like the armor for the night to go out and do battle, and be protected. And we live in a world with a lot of toxins, so you have to avoid the chemicals, because the chemicals then also can erode your immune system. They take down your soldiers, your armor, dissolve your armor.
You want to avoid the sugar and the refined grains, the wheat. Even organic wheat is inflammatory. Most grains.
Well, as we get older, we can't digest it as well. So in the old days, I keep talking about the old days, they ate naturally grown, not hybrid grains. They had high protein in them a long time ago, and they naturally fermented them to remove the phytochemicals that prevent digestion.
That means they soaked them.
Soaked, a lot of soaking. So all of these old techniques and fermentation techniques were essential to help the digestive process. We don't do that today. Everything's a shortcut and highly processed. And you might get buckwheat, or you might get certain grains that, that's got a high magnesium content, but then it's locked up. You can't get it
because of the membrane that protects the seed, makes it also not accessible to us to digest.
Yes, put a lock and key on that nutrient.
But then the soaking is the workaround. So no sugar, no grain. Conventional dairy is a real problem, if it's not raw and unpasteurized.
Yes. So the dairy I call killed milk. And for those that are interested in this aspect, I highly recommend the book, if you can still find it, called The Untold Story of Milk. Gives you the whole history of what's happened and why. And so you can understand why dairy has become over time toxic, but it wasn't for millennia, but it is now.
Back to an untoxic form where you don't get the kind of reactions that people get from conventional. And then we have the high fructose corn syrups and all of these sweeteners that are so damaging to the microbiome.
Because sugar, so refined sugars stimulate the metabolism in a anaerobic way. So that's metabolism without oxygen, which produces a lot more acid byproducts. And then you've got no antioxidants, no support to buffer the acids. And so you've got more and more acids accumulating as a result of the sugar metabolism. So definitely avoid the sugar and the processed carbs, especially while you're recovering. Definitely, because you've got to support the body as much as it can and not overload the digestive system.
Smaller meals.
Reduce your stresses from all corners,
And if you're doing meditating and deep breathing, you're also getting the added benefit of the oxygenation through the deeper breathing.
That's it.
Right.
Oxygen. And even if those who are following Wim Hof, he does a lot of deep breathing before he jumps into his icy swimming pool. And that jolts the thyroid, really wakes up the whole metabolic system. And so he has a good technique that way. So I've started to do some cold showers. Whew, I jump into my cold swimming pool. I've been inspired by the man.
Get stressed, right? You have to be careful that you don't stress yourself, right?
Well, I do this while I'm healthy, not if I'm recovering from something. So let's go back to my shingles. How did I get better quickly without all the dramas that you read everywhere? So the first week was just the build up where these itchy blisters were multiplying. And then by second week, the pain was kicking in underneath the blisters in the nerve network, like a really deep, deep pain. It feels like it's going into the bone, into the rib cage. It's like it's digging right in. So I was spraying right from the first week when I discovered what it was. It's very strong magnesium oil spritz, so 60% plus formula. Spraying it on directly, didn't want to touch the blisters, just spraying it on, and I used a hairdryer to dry it off, and that would help them crust over faster. And so by the second week, the pain had accelerated. I needed only 1 paracetamol per night for 4 nights. And then I didn't need...
People might not know what paracetamol is. It's Tylenol.
Yeah, okay. So we call it Panadol, or there's generic forms as well. Right. So you don't want to take too much of that stuff or become reliant on it, but just in a small amount, it kind of takes the edge off to get through. So this is a process. This is a cycle. The immune system has a cycle of how it deals with things. So there's week 1 and week 2 and week 3. There's different things happening at each stage, like a washing machine cycle, until eventually that poison is pushed out and the whole system is cleansed and recovered and goes into the healing and the recovery and the rebuilding stage. So after the blisters are crusted over and they fall off, I was applying a lot of magnesium cream because I needed the fats from the cream to help support the skin barrier to reform, to rebuild the collagen. You need a lot of fat for the skin barrier protection. So when you've got this new pink skin coming out, it's like very, pristine and fragile, so it needs a lot more support. And I found the magnesium cream made me feel like I had a nice protective blanket over it. And it allows all the exchange of oxygen. It doesn't block anything like petroleum-based products on your skin can actually block your pores and block the skin channels from opening and closing. So you have to be careful what you put on your skin and try and go for natural products, plant-based products.
Without parabens. That's a big, those
parabens. So any synthetics, there's a lot of good information online now where you can look up, EWG, a lot of what toxins are in skin products.
So to help the immune system, because we only have, just a few minutes left, you want to have a clean diet, a pure diet, not a packaged diet, a lot of vegetables and fruit and protein, especially the berries, right? Really good for you.
Yeah, less protein while you're recovering. If your immune system is inflamed, if you're dealing with inflammation, you want to go less protein and you want to have the most easy to digest foods. So go vegetables and soups, and very little to digest, really. It should be super easy because all your resources are fighting the bad guys. You don't have as many resources then to digest stuff in the stomach. So you may need to make that
old remedy, that they say if you have a fever, do not eat protein because the body is too busy doing its detox in the fever. It doesn't want to be busy digesting protein, which is the hardest.
Yes, so you can have some sour fruits are better. Sour fruits are higher in the vitamin C and they don't have as many sugars such as fructose, so that the sour and bitter tends to help us recover better.
Lemon.
And that's really like Ayurvedic have developed this.
You're talking lemon and lime?
Yes.
and a sour fruit.
Lemon, lime, and garlic and ginger. They help kill the bugs as well. All in the vitamin C and the zinc and the D. So sunshine. You
Good
need
water.
magnesium to make vitamin D, by the way.
And you
to
need good water. We have to remember to put the magnesium
Lots of
in
fluids and water to flush the system. Mineral water, so add magnesium to your filtered water. You don't want to drink tap water with fluoride or chlorine in it because that kills your good microbiome. So filtered water with the minerals added back in. So a pinch of magnesium chloride flakes per liter.
We need our sleep. We need to sweat. Like you said, convert the sun.
And essential oils work quite well. So plant-based products that donate antioxidants, support and oxygenation and cleansing. So throw everything at it that's good. It all works together.
I knew an MD who was a naturopath in the early 80s, and he had this remedy when you had a fever. And now I can see why. It's a very ancient remedy. You would take a clove of garlic and keep it in your mouth. So you're constantly getting the antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal juices coming in, right? So it's very intense. And then he would have you slice a lemon and put it on the soles of your feet and then put a sock on your foot. So you're constantly getting the vitamin C coming through your skin.
That would also have a drawing effect because, with gravity and the lymph system tends to pull toxins down near the feet, the ankles, the soles of the feet. That's why the Japanese have those little foot pads that overnight they have like a mushroom substance in the pad and it sucks out.
That's why
toxins.
you like the magnesium foot soaks with your magnesium.
Yeah, well, with the magnesium foot soaks, you can use the reject water on your plants because they need magnesium too. So there's really nothing to throw away. You can recycle everything.
So we have to say goodbye now. I would like you to just give one parting sentence, just one message, and then again remind people how to find you and how to order electromagnesium.
Yes, so electromagnesium, we produce a very wide range of different magnesium body care products for absorption of different strength for different age groups, something for everyone, men, women, different skin types. So have a look at what we've got, electromagnesium.com.au, remember the Australian. And if you order over $150 worth in Australian money, which is much cheaper for you guys in America, you get free shipping as well from the other side of the planet. So we absorb all that cost.
And you have to remember, even though I'm not an affiliate or a distributor, I don't make commissions, you did put a discount code. If they say Dr.Jamie, they'll have a discount.
Yes. So if you forget that, you can email Jamie and she'll confirm it for you. But yes, so if you've been listening well, you can get an extra discount.
Oh, excellent. Sandy, it was great having you, and I'm glad you're feeling better. Your immunity is bouncing back. Your ATP production is up there with your magnesium. Everybody watching, know that your health isn't going to restore itself by a pill. You're going to have to take an active role in how you live, eat, drink, sleep, all of this, but you will be richly rewarded with a much stronger immune system that will protect you from all crap that's coming at you in the world today.
Yes. Relax and recover.
All righty. See you next time on Love Never Dies and Dr. Turndorf, Turn on the Love. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy.